Hey, this is the Hobby Shop. I'm Philip. I'm here with,
Don and Rob.
and this week, like usual, it's a topic that's very vague. So we were just going to kind of talk about uh, the internet. We'll be as specific as we want, or we'll be as vague as we want. That's how it's going to go. So, yeah, where would we start on this? I mean, the generic thing to say about the internet is it's a great tool, but it can be really misused and abused.
Oh yeah, definitely. Fraud, information fraud. Definitely, that's like one of the biggest problem with it. But I think what we should probably start to is on the sites that we're usually on. So I think what we'll start on is YouTube itself.
Yeah, I don't really know a lot of like the inner workings of YouTube and all that. Like, I understand there's this big whole thing about the use of video game music and all that. This whole copyright debacle with they got basically an army of robots telling you apparently the roof's coming down.
That was kind of scary.
Scared the dog. Um, the it scared my thought out of my head, so now I can't remember what I'm saying. Yeah, they have their old army of robots that's dictating, your influencing on copyrights and all that.
I thought they were fixing that. I didn't hear.
As far as I know, it's still as bad as it's been.
It still is,
as far as I know.
Cause I thought the people who know, well, the only person I know that it was affecting a lot, or who made a fuss about it, was Angry Joe.
Angry Joe, Fraser from Far From Settle.
I was like the only person.
A lot of people have. I mean, Pat the Indian posted.
Are they still having?
Hey. What the hell's over there?
But I don't know. Are people still having that kind of issue still?
From last time I checked, last time they've said anything, it sounds like. The main thing I've been hearing from Far From Subtle is that it's a different topic. They're having issues with Twitch since Google bought out Twitch, so they're having a lot of issues.
I thought Twitch is kind of having the same issue. Usually,
yeah,
but I thought it was more with music.
They're applying. Yeah, it is. It's a thing with licensed music, which includes video games, and it's basically they're trying to come up with some way to flag on Twitch, which I'm not sure how it works. Again, I don't know the inner workings, or there's a lot I don't understand. Hell, I didn't even know Twitch was a site until a few years ago.
Yeah, it was really surprising that Google actually bought it. I don't know if it was really... Google's been actually buying a lot of stuff, if you think about it.
Yeah, they're kind of buying up everything they can, kind of like... it reminds me of things like the WWE, or it reminds me of things like Disney, where they're just buying up everything.
I've heard some conspiracies, people saying like, oh, they're monopolizing. Fear Google, they're going to take over the world. Like, literally on Reddit, I've seen some weird-ass conspiracies, and I'm just like, what the fuck? How did I make a wrong turn here?
It's just internet conspiracies, another thing that you will find on the internet.
God, there's a lot of people who believe it, too.
Yeah,
I'm like, what?
You can't, they, legally cannot, take over. But you could get down there close.
Yeah, you can get pretty close.
It's because I'm a wrestling geek, so I think of this immediately. Back in the 80s, the WWE was buying up all the little wrestling territories all over the country. And basically the idea was, Vince McMahon's going to put everybody out of business because he's taking up all these other things, taking them over. And he really didn't, but I could see where that paranoia part of people's brain will kick in, because a lot of people were thinking the same thing back then. It's different place, different world, different topic, but I think it's similar.
But I'm not really sure what would really Google do besides enforce their rules. But even then, it doesn't seem really all that bad. I mean, I know YouTube's got those bots that apparently are still bad, but I haven't heard people complaining about them as much.
I think a lot of people just accepted it, or they've been quiet about it.
Yeah. And you've been on Twitch a lot, Rob. Do you have any idea about the music bots, or?
It's not really just music. It's just licensed music, and it doesn't like end your stream. It just mutes your VODs, which are basically files that just save of your streaming session. So say if like I missed that streaming session and I want to go rewatch someone's video, I go watch their VOD. But now that the copyright thing is there, most of the VODs are just blank, like they have no volume at all, because all the copyright music and stuff, like if you play any Pandora kind of music, all of that's copyrighted, so you can't.
So you just can't play Pandora like what most people used to do.
Used to do.
Well, it seems
because
like
I mean, people just want to listen to music when they play their video games.
then I've heard of some cases where like in going back to that for a second, far from subtle, when they do their show Video Games Awesome, they usually have music playing in the intros and stuff like that, and it's all from Starship Amazing, and they have permission from the artist. They have permission from the artist, which I didn't know was the Happy Video Game Nerd. I didn't know he made music. Apparently he does. They have full permission from the artist to use that music, and they still have gotten flagged for it.
Yeah, because it's a bot that's just doing it. And is it still people having the accounts deleted for stuff like that, where you get the warning?
I don't know about that. I don't know if accounts are still being deleted, but
that was just a thing like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, because I don't know if that's going on. This
no,
is why.
I don't think that's really the thing going on right now.
Yeah, because it's the 3-strike thing, and then your account gets deleted. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's like if your uploads have three strikes, your account is deleted, and which I mean, I'm just kind of like, can't you just make another account? Just
yeah, I think there's a fail-safe for that. I think they have a contingency plan for that, but I don't know how. I honestly don't. I don't know how that works. I'm not very
tech savvy.
Tech savvy, yeah. I've never really been able to understand a lot of that stuff, so I don't know if they have a thing for it. I almost would think they would, just somehow. I don't know how, but I'm pretty sure they would have something.
I don't really think of like ISP blocked them, but even then you should get around that for proxies. So I don't really see what really their goal is if they're trying to block people from watching pirated stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand it either.
It's like the gun law. It's just like you're not stopping the bad people. You're just making it more annoying for everyone else.
Yeah. The thing with YouTube, I've noticed this though. A lot of those videos that have been taken down have been put back up, and I think that's just the producers putting their stuff back up, re-uploading them.
Okay.
They're like, if I remember correct, Linkara from Channel Awesome has been uploading videos, and the most of the stuff he's been uploading on YouTube, he removes licensed music, because at the end of every video he would have some kind of song playing. Also, when his video would start, the title card would be on screen, and then some random song would be playing, and more often than not it's a licensed song. So on YouTube, that stuff's removed. I guess it's the only way he can get around the copyright thing on YouTube.
No, I thought it was legitimately supposed to be copyright when you played like a certain amount of the song. Because I remember back in my media class, my teacher told me you were able to play at least, 34 seconds?
I don't know.
It was like you were. He told me, I don't think he was a professional or even understand what he was saying, but I remember he told me that you were allowed to play
How long
music
ago was that?
about a year ago.
Okay.
A year ago?
Oh, okay, maybe
Crazy.
2 years.
Two.
It was back when Mr. Perky Nipples.
What?
That was 6 years ago, sir.
Damn.
That's been a long time.
A year, huh? That.
Well, it feels like a year to me.
Yeah, I was actually talking to somebody today about that, about how something doesn't seem that long ago. I was talking to somebody on YouTube. We'll get back to our point in a second. I just want to tell the story. I was talking to this guy on YouTube about Tekken 5, which, out of the Tekken games, that's my favorite game out of the series. Anyway, I saw a comment where it's like, the good old days. I was like, the good old days of what? Then I look back and be like, holy shit, 2005. That's nearly 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's kind of actually scary how time flies and you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
Can't keep track of time. But I guess to get back onto the topic, yeah, I remember him telling that you were allowed to have 30 seconds of a copyrighted song to play. After, if it was any more than that, then it was plagiarism.
Well, laws change all the time, so I don't
Yeah.
even know anymore.
Yeah, it's something you really have to kind of, you really gotta be up on. Let him out, please.
He just let it himself out.
Oh,
I'll close the door.
That didn't take a whole lot.
Okay, well, continuing.
It's done. Let's with the door. Okay, continuing. Yeah, it's something you really got to keep up on. Because like Rob said, the laws change so often, so you kind of have to keep up with it. I haven't really kept up with it. The most stuff I hear is from people posting videos about it, like Angry Joe or Fraser from Video Games Awesome.
And speaking of Angry Joe, how did you kind of react to his reaction to the whole blocking thing?
It's been so long since I've seen his video, I can't really tell you. What was he doing? His usual animated self?
No, it was just himself talking to the screen.
Just being
because he was really upset because he was saying, you know, this is my career. This was, you know, YouTube. You were
well, okay. One of those things. If he was going the as I call it, the Linkara route, was it like he was just being honest, or was he being a titty baby?
In truth, I didn't want to say titty baby.
Okay, because it's like if you put all your money you put everything into this. If this is your life, if this is your career, you have nobody else to blame but yourself for not having a contingency plan. Because this is not something you need. This is something you should not live on. Should not be your livelihood. I understand that the videos take time, but it's one of those cases where it's priorities.
It's basically legitimizing saying, like, I'm turning this hobby into a
career,
into a hardcore career.
Yeah, and some people, I can see where it benefits. I see where the hard work benefits, like Doug Walker, but golly.
Your house is falling apart.
Just people around it having to do things.
Okay.
But the reason why I call it the Linkara thing, and this is not really the same thing. It's just he made a video where he was crawling about ad block.
I actually think I might have seen that.
Yeah, and it's just my response. I wasn't like mad or anything. It was just like, you're the one who wanted to make this a career. You're the one who wants to dedicate your life to this. I just said, basically, I said, stop making videos for a little while, get a job, get to a point to where you're stable, then worry about your silly little videos on the internet.
Yeah, pretty much like you said, it is priorities in choosing, you know, what to do over. One's a
you
hobby.
You have to have a backup plan for everything, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
You can't just go all out on one thing, because if that one thing blows out, then so do you.
It's just...
But I mean, I think what bothered me the most out of it was just how much, like, they were getting pissed off at the fact they weren't getting money out of it. Like, they really legitimately think this is a job and not a hobby anymore.
Those are
the people you can tell didn't do it for the fun of it after a while.
And I don't want to, like, say that about some of these guys, because I think it's just because I try to look at it from their perspective. That, you know,
it's a pretty hard perspective to look from, though.
Yeah, it's just they're from that perspective of people are enjoying my videos. I want to keep them happy. I'm making money off this, and basically, like, ad blocker to them would be like taking money out of their pocket. I don't agree to that. I think it's the viewer's choice to use ad blocker. If you don't want to watch ads, then you don't have to watch ads.
That's pretty much what I would say, you know. It's definitely up to the viewer, and it's their choice. And who am I to say what you should and shouldn't do?
Yeah, I mean, it, like with and keep in mind, this comes from a Linkara fan. I love his videos. I love his work. I think he's hilarious. But there's a time where it's just, there's just certain times where a person just kind of, I don't know, does something you just don't agree with, and is just to the point where, basically, I wanted to say this to Linkara: quit crying. Do what you need to do, and just move on. If people are using ad blocker, so what?
Yeah, I think it's just really rude to really, diss your fans like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not my real fan if you put up ad blocker. Fuck you. You're not giving me money.
Nah, that's why I didn't want to speak for these people, because it's that's not really what he was trying to get across.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys from Channel Awesome kind of have the same sentiment, against ad blocker and all that. I don't agree with it. It kind of makes them look bad when they crow about it. I'm not saying they're on the same level as an Amazing Atheist, where they're just basically begging for money.
You beggars.
Yeah.
A site that does that all the time. Fuck, I forgot what it was called. Kickstarter. There we go.
Kickstarter. There you go.
Guys, I have an awesome video. You should kickstart it. Just you guys, not me.
There's
guys.
some.
How about you just work harder?
No.
There's some times where I can understand why you use Kickstarter. I can understand that sometimes. There's people who use Kickstarter for stupid shit, that group of people who are wanting to do remake Cheetah Man. It's Cheetah Man is just some shitty game that was poorly programmed, that got cult status because of its. It was terrible. It was a terrible game. It became infamous. Now they're trying to make their own version of it where it's not broken. And this is one of those times where the people associated with, I really wish I did not see their faces, because it's why did James Rolfe have to be part of that? And by the way, as far as I know, and people in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that game ever came to be, and I think that was a few years ago. And it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way that guys like James Rolfe and Mike Matei were a part of that. I fucking hate my dog.
But I don't know. I think if you're compassionate enough for something and you truly want to make it, you would fund it yourself. And
Yeah.
I mean, when I say that, I look at the person who did Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
He funded it by himself. I don't know if that's 100% true.
You look at Kevin Smith with Clerks.
You don't need a huge ass fucking 100,000 budget to
Yeah.
make something good.
Now, I understand, if you're a fan of somebody and you really want to help them out and all that, and donating, that's fine. I have no problem with that. And again, Kickstarter, it's one of those things where it's a great tool, but it can be abused. It can be extremely abused.
I've seen it abused too much to where I just don't like it.
I mean, I can say that, but you look at, again, going back to James Rolfe, go look at the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. He got way over the amount he expected. He got, he had a certain number, I can't remember what the number was, but he got double that from fan donation. People putting money into Kickstarter. At least it's one of those things where we know it went into the end product, and the end product actually came.
Even though people didn't like it?
What do you mean people didn't like it? I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Oh, I've heard bad things.
No. I've heard mostly good things. I mean, the only review I threw out immediately was Doug Walker's review, because it's that's his friend, so he's going to be biased, and you can tell throughout that video how biased he was, and you can tell Doug Walker kind of got on this anti-CGI kick again. He seems to go back and forth on that, because it's at times he said it's a great it's a great tool. You can use it, and there's certain things you have to use it for, and all that. But now he's going back to the whole. At least it's on the screen. At least it's really there. And I agree with that. I don't care for CGI effects.
I think CGI is golden when it's cheesy. When it's literally so cheesy, it's funny.
When people know that it's shit and they just embrace it.
Yeah. Kind of like... there's a lot of movies where
There's a lot of foreign films that do that. They just embrace the cheesy shittiness of CGI and they make it funny.
I've always said if you can't afford CGI, don't use it.
Use it, yeah.
But then again, I don't think movies like Mega Shark would have been as entertaining.
Come on, Sharknado.
I watched Sharknado. It's not that horrendously... Like, everybody's talking about how bad of a movie it was, and then there's people who's like, oh, it's so bad it's good. I don't even think it's that. I think it's kind of...
It knows what it is, so it just...
Okay, hang on for a second. He's not going to stop until he's let in. Can you let him in? I'm sorry, it says he will not stop. And he's probably going to go right straight. You have to open the screen door. Did he run off or what?
No, he's like chilling right there.
Open the screen door. He can't open it himself.
Yeah, God, Rob, don't abuse a dog. They have feelings.
I guess she wants in too, doesn't she? Okay,
Now, I would say I would edit this out, but I'm too lazy to edit this out.
Yeah, apparently. Because you haven't been editing a lot of things I've been telling you to edit out.
Well, that's mainly because I got stuff to do, sir.
Like what?
Number one excuse in the world. I've got stuff to do. I am busy. I am overused.
You have to open that one too.
Ugh.
Dogs
do
are
everything.
The dogs are ruining the show. What are you even doing?
But, yeah, I would edit, but busy. Well, continue on topic.
I'm just going to say this right now. This show is going to be kind of all over the place, like usual.
Yeah.
At least now I'm admitting it. But like with the use of CG, it depends on it. What else? Let me finish my thought on Sharknado for a second.
Thank you, Internet.
The people who are going apeshit over this, talking about how it's the funniest bad movie they've ever seen, they obviously have not seen bad movies.
There's plenty of bad movies that do the exact same kind of factor to them.
Sharknado, I thought, was trying too hard. Trying too hard to be
Hobo with a shotgun. Again, thanks, Internet.
It was trying too hard to be It was trying too hard to be the next Troll 2, or to be in the next room. It was just trying way too hard, and it's just like I don't think it's bad enough to be hateable, but it's not on that. I don't think it's on that level of so bad it's good.
It's not cheesy enough.
It depends. I know. The dog's a bitch. That's in this situation, literally. But Sharknado. I watched the movie. I wasn't like impressed, and I love terrible movies, like those horrendous movies that are laughable. I love those kind of movies. This just wasn't. A little silly, but
well, I don't know. When you see
it was a little generic, actually.
When you see a lot of the fan stuff made from the internet, it feels.
Wait, that was fan made?
Not really fan made, but it was just budgeted by the internet. And what I'm trying to imply is a lot of stuff you used to get from the internet isn't that
cheesy
good.
Shit.
Like, it's not even cheesy shit. It's just literal shit. Like, it's not funny, or it's got this nasty internet humor that you just get so tired of seeing everywhere.
Or they just reference fucking shit they've seen on the internet.
Well, I mean, it's because they get Family Guys in.
They got a fucking movie about Grumpy Cat. A Christmas special.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I saw an ad for it on YouTube.
Thanks, internet.
God damn it. And I thought it was stupid enough that it was on Monday Night Raw. Yeah, that's what your wrestling show needs. A cat off the internet.
I mean, those are the kind of, I'm okay with Grumpy Cat and meme stuff. Well, not meme cancer, but like Doge.
But, like a lot of the memes, and I'm embarrassed to say this, a lot of memes I didn't even know were memes until somebody told me. That South Park episode where they're trying to create an internet meme. A lot of those internet memes they were making fun of, like the gopher or whatever, that one girl screaming under a blanket.
That episode.
Sci-fi Star Wars kid. I didn't know those were things until that episode.
Speaking about bad South Park episodes, have you seen the new one?
Nah, I haven't watched South Park in like 3 years.
Magic the Gathering. So garbage.
Is it like
Is it just stereotypical?
No, it's not that. It's just it wasn't even funny. Like I was just looking forward to like a little chuckle from them. I wasn't expecting anything.
Cause
So
then it was just like
it wasn't like the World of Warcraft episode where it was like actually funny.
not even close.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite episodes, by the way. The World of Warcraft.
I mean, because it
episode.
did the honor of making fun of it and respecting it at the same time. You know.
I was just happy because I can't stand World of Warcraft.
But
anyway, there's certain movies where I can totally see how it gets like that ironic love, like The Room, Troll 2, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Then there's movies where it's just like, I think people are mistaking so bad it's good with shit.
yeah, I haven't seen like anything good internet movie wise. I mean, someone recommended me Dick Figures, but I was like, that's just a one trick pony that got old episodes.
I don't know about internet movies, but the only internet movies I've invested any time in is anything from Channel Awesome because I really liked those movies. I thought they were really, really funny. Kick-Assiest, Suburban Nights, and To Boldly Flee. Those were, I think those were pretty good, pretty funny, but it depends on how much you like those characters. And I like those characters a lot, so I enjoyed it. Other ones would be stuff from Brad Jones, who did, I think he did, obviously, the Cinema Snob movie, Paranoia, which apparently there's 4 other movies called Paranoia. And I think Hooker with a Heart of Gold, like a literal heart of gold, which, if you don't know, Brad Jones, he's a big fan of exploitation movies and stuff like that, so he kind of made his own. Those are the only internet movies I invested any time in that are literally made by people off the internet. But movies funded by people on the internet, I wouldn't know them unless you pointed them out.
Yeah, it's just really weird.
Or wait, does the Fred movie count?
That did come from the internet, but it wasn't funded by the internet.
Okay,
It was
it just came from the internet.
Yeah, it just came from.
Which, by the way, I did not know was a thing until it wasn't you, but somebody on Facebook told me about this guy.
Yeah, he got a series on Disney, I believe,
Nickelodeon, I believe.
or Nickelodeon. But enough about the big names. Who cares about him? Whatever.
He's a big name.
He was.
Okay,
Yeah.
I must just not ever heard of him when he was.
When YouTube was starting out.
Yeah, when it was YouTube baby.
Back in '06?
Yeah.
Jeez.
He was big.
I recently, and I told you about this, that I tried to watch, what's his name? God, with stupid fringe haircut. How come all the internet assholes always have that bowl cut? That one haircut?
Well, we won't go by names. I don't think we should give people more popularity, but you can just say like one.
One guy who does Let's Play. He does Let's Plays, and he act like he does horror games, and he pretends to be scared. God damn it, we wasn't going to say his name.
Garbage.
Yes, total garbage.
Hey, I mean, if you gotta do what you gotta do to make money.
But I had one guy who's like, well, you gotta check this guy out. He's like really funny and all that. I forget his name, but he reminds me of that guy too. He has the same stupid haircut. He has the same kind of let's scream at the top of our lungs and do random shit. You know, trying to pretend to be funny. I can't remember the guy's name. I think there's 2 of them. He also has a Let's Play channel, and
It's called having a shitty persona so they get popular. Because
Oh.
that persona is what carries everyone to popularity. Being stupid as fuck. And
Smash
yelling
or
at
something
everyone.
like that. I think his name Smash or something.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't judge.
Smosh. That's who I'm thinking of.
I don't judge. I'm just like, you know, if it's what's popular, it's what's popular.
Eh,
And,
whatever. It's just
yeah, it's just there.
Some people find it funny, some people don't. Speaking of which, there's certain people that I'm just gonna throw this out here because I can't believe that this turned into a giant deal,
What?
and I didn't even know about it until a couple of years ago. The whole irate gamer thing.
Oh, that was old. That was a long
No,
time.
people are still bitching about it.
What?
They are still complaining about it. And here's the thing: I haven't. Whenever I say I'm not a fan of the irate gamer, people just take me as a AVGN fanboy. He's just not funny. He's very awkward. Like, he really does not belong in front of a camera. James Rolfe's a little bit that way too, but at least after a while he kind of developed this personality that could be on camera. I've always said that the irate gamer is a great editor. He does great special effects and stuff like that. As a guy behind the scenes, the guy's great.
But on the scenes, it's just like,
He's just there, just kind of like, and here's this game, and I'm going to pretend to be mad. And it's just, maybe it's me. I'm exhausted by the angry critic, because let's be honest, even though I like a lot of guys on Channel Awesome, they did no favors to the internet. Considering there is like thousands of angry critics. Basically, pretty much all piggybacking off of the guys from Channel Awesome.
Yeah, it's something you actually see a lot with the internet is the copy syndrome or the mimic syndrome, where you see it so much, you don't see anything fresh. And the thing with me is the fact that I don't hate these kind of things. I just get annoyed because you see them everywhere.
Yeah, I mean that's why I really
They're
enjoy.
character tropes. That's why. And people just pick it up.
That's why I really enjoy Doug Walker doing the editorials, because he's kind of putting that character aside, and he's actually looking at something like he's being serious about it. You know, he still does some silly things, still makes jokes and stuff like that, but it's more subdued. It's not him screaming, shooting a gun in the air and all that. It's not like what people think of when they think of the nostalgia critic. Then there's other guys who, this guy's made no bones about it. He's full on admit that a lot of him came from the nostalgia critic, and that's Erod, the Blockbuster Buster. I don't know if you're familiar with him. A lot of people aren't, but I think he has his moments. But okay. You know how the angry video game nerd and the nostalgia critic has bashed things with hammers?
Mm-hmm.
He's made it his gimmick. His gimmick is he smashes things with hammers. He's kind of like a cross between the nostalgia critic and Kara. You know, big comic fan. But he mostly goes after adaptations. That's his thing. He goes after adaptations. He usually railing against them because they're nothing like the source material. He does kind of start to sound like a broken record. Even worse, his voice. Now, I like the guy, but he's got these little mannerisms that bother me. Like how he has to say everything like this, and then he has to say every other line like this, and it gets so annoying after a while, especially when he goes on like a 30-minute video, which thankfully he doesn't do a whole lot of. But he's also, one of the things I do like is he is very knowledgeable. He is obviously a student of film. He knows when he's talking about it. It's not bullshit when he talks about like actors, directors, writers, and
so the problem
the histories
is that he's not bringing something new to the table.
Yeah, it's just a lot of things. That's why I like his honest reviews, even though his mannerisms do start to get annoying.
I think everyone's got little mannerisms that'll annoy someone else.
Yeah, I'm sure I have plenty. But his honest reviews, it's more interesting. And also, I gotta give him credit for making a video that I think it was called the top 10 reasons why Aquaman kicks ass. I was so happy to see that video because it's like that character gets so much shit for no reason. But it's just nice to kind of see somebody who really knows his shit. He doesn't come off as pompous or anything. If he does, it's his character. That's how he writes the character. He does the typical, oh, I got multiple characters, but I play all of them. Okay, he has a few that aren't him, but he has like his characters. He's actually done like videos where he talks about the backstory of his characters. He has Nerdlinger, which is basically just like the ultimate nerd goober. He's like the stereotype of the nerd amped up by 10. But he actually tried to make him like he's has this childlike innocence and all that, and so he tries to give the character something unique to himself. And it's not like he's just doing his regular voice. He actually can do voices pretty well. The voice sounds nothing like his normal talking voice. He actually said what the voice is. I can't remember right now, but it was something like he took a little bit of who's the kind of nervous guy from Family Guy. His son like has a crush on Meg.
I haven't watched that in forever.
Red curly hair.
I know what you're talking about, but I haven't.
He has like that nasally voice and all that. That it's like that mixed with a little bit of Cartman. That's how he described it. He has other characters, which I can't remember all their backstories because these videos have been coming out throughout the summer, so I can't remember all of these. He has another one where it's just basically this. He's basically this. I don't know the word for it, but he's basically this Mexican thug, or well, I guess I should be more specific, Puerto Rican. And then he has one other character that's supposed to be like this 1940s newspaper editor. They are funny characters. I gotta give him that. He is a good writer. And that's where I think he really succeeds at. That's where he really excels at, is writing. And I've noticed a lot of these critics, a lot of these guys on Channel Awesome, they have their little niche that they're good at. There's people who are all around talented, like Brad Jones, except, I don't know, he's not really that great of an editor. But he's...
I know I'm not.
He's a good director, he's a good writer. Doug Walker, he's a one-man show, basically. Well, that's not true, well, especially now, since he has a cast now, he has other characters. But yeah, for the most part, it's just Doug and Rob, different Rob. It's just Doug Walker and Rob Walker writing it. I think Doug edits it, and a lot of it is him doing it. Then there's those guys who kind of learn a lot of the, I don't know what to call it, all the tricks of the trade, I guess.
But to get back onto the topic of YouTube, what do you think of what's been said a lot of actually getting out there, the exposure problem of YouTube, where the recommendations are usually, what you usually see of the big names all the time.
Yeah.
And how it's so much harder to find smaller people.
Yeah, you just really have to look for them and be very specific to find them, like us. I mean, that's probably why we get so little views, is because
we're probably boring.
Oh, yeah, I've been told that. But I think, honestly, it might be just the lack of people being able to find us, or being able... We just don't have very much penetration on YouTube. We just don't got a whole lot of... I don't know what it is because you're sending links, and you're being very specific, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter... Oh, please tell me you're being specific as possible.
Probably.
I don't fucking keep an eye on him. He's just a lazy bastard who sits in the fucking corner.
Let's just assume you are. But the point is, it's just a lot of times it's just you gotta let things grow. You gotta let time go by, and just gotta keep doing it. Just keep going after it. Eventually, people are going to start catching on. People are going to start finding your videos, especially if you make enough of them.
Or you just be like what most people do nowadays and you just post it on Reddit. Notice me! That's literally what people do on Reddit at times. They're just like, hey, I made a video. You guys should like it.
Yeah, one thing I need to say is I guess it's because I never paid attention to it, but how come everybody on YouTube, especially the bigger channels, they always have to say those 3 magic words: like, comment, subscribe. Do you really have to keep hammering that into viewers' skulls?
And then right there's little annotations. There's the subscribe button.
Yeah.
And just like little arrows down to the like button, and they're just like pointing at the comments. They're just like, we're trying to force you and dictate you what you should do.
And see, I just noticed that just because I'm starting to subscribe to some bigger channels, just because, and it's not because I'm having some kind of like, well, maybe I should give it a shot. No, it's not like, it's just I happen to come across a lot of these videos like oh God, what is the Black Nerd, or I can't remember his name now. Black Nerd Comedy, I think is the name of the channel. I can't remember. Shit. But he always does the whole like, comment, subscribe thing. But he actually comes across like he's just like, hey, he just kind of comes across like, hey, you know what to do, just do it. There you go. There's one guy on there, I can't remember his name, I just discovered him yesterday. He actually mocks the whole, oh, and you see that giant thing that says subscribe? Yeah, go ahead and click that. Go ahead and click that out, it helps me out a lot. At least he points, but he actually points out that it's kind of, you know, he's being obvious about it. He's being very obvious about it, that it's just like, you know, it's just a thing people do on YouTube. He just goes with it. That's why I've always made it a purpose to, like, if we're ever going to tell people to comment, like, or subscribe, it would just be in the description. That's all it needs to be.
I don't know. I'm just like, you know, if you do what you do, I do what I do. I don't tell you what to do, and you don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, but sometimes people, they're like, cool.
Maybe people are too incompetent, you have to tell them what to do. How do I click the subscribe button? There's not a link to it. How do I click the like button?
Yeah.
There's not a link to it.
As I was saying that,
How do I comment?
As I was saying that, I was thinking people aren't stupid, so if they like it, they'll subscribe to it. You don't really have to, like...
YouTube layout's too hard for me to figure out.
Okay, I got a question for you then. What do you think of how they're so-called updating the screen format?
It's kind of annoying because you get used to one format and you're like, okay, I settled in, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, throw that out. Here's a new one, and it's just like I just settled into the last one.
This one, at least the one now, I finally figured out and finally got down.
Don't worry, give it a year.
Then my computer messes up. My phone is set up completely different, so I got used to that. So if I'm ever on YouTube, it's on my phone. That's why I'm still able to post videos on our old channel.
Okay.
Although I haven't done that in I think the last one I did was to tell people that we moved. I think that was the last video I did. Which, by the way, our first episode, 97 views.
Yeah, I went over and looked at that, and I was just like, huh, maybe we're not as boring as we think we are.
Honestly, I don't mean to kind of like deflate you there, but I think it's just because my channel's been around since 2010. I'm just saying, we just need to take a while. It'll take a while, but we'll start to get views. We'll start to get people watching the show.
Honestly, I don't really care. I just enjoy just doing this every day, or every so often.
Whenever we do it.
I think the funnest part out of actually doing all this is questions.
Yeah.
As much as I do make fun of AMAs.
AMAs?
Ask Me Anything.
Oh, okay.
They're very popular on Reddit. Usually like big stars and all that, you know, get asked stuff.
I know one thing some people were doing was where they read angry comments.
I think that's one of the most funniest and enjoyable things to see how much people put effort.
When's the last time Archman did one? I love the crazy comments he gets.
I don't know. I haven't really checked him in a while because he updates a lot, and I never pay attention to what the fuck he does.
Yeah, you gotta and he's really since it's football season, he's really focusing on that.
Yeah.
Which for a while I was a fan of those videos. I just kind of stopped watching them.
Like the hateful comments, I think it's interesting where you can see the certain level of trolls. You got the lazy trolls that are just like, oh, you're fat and gay.
Yep.
Then you have the little more creative trolls where you can't really tell if they're trolling or if they're trying to
if they're serious.
Yeah, those are
which sometimes it's scary if they're serious.
Yeah, like they say stuff so dumb to a level where you don't take it serious, but at the same time in the back of your head you're just kind of like, I think I should slightly take this serious.
Yeah, we've gotten a few comments. I've gotten hate mail because of stuff I say on Twitter, and usually it's some of the stupidest shit. So usually I'm a sarcastic asshole on Twitter. Usually if I'm on Twitter and I'm posting stuff, I'm usually being sarcastic, and I do find it annoying that you have to type in LOL to everything. So people know you're not being serious.
It's the context of text. That's really what it is. Is that in a literal sense, it depends on how the reader sees it. They can either see it. I mean, that's like what the thing with the trolls. Where you're like, is it serious or is it sarcastic bullshit?
Yeah, that's one thing. And I know people who they deliberately leave troll comments. They're just fucking around. They're not serious at all.
Yeah, I mean, those are the kind of people where you're just like, oh, yeah, whatever, sure.
Yeah, those are the ones you usually ignore. Then there's the one, and I try not to argue on the internet. I really try not to argue with people unless I really need to make a point. And most of the time, I just give up.
I think arguing on the internet is one of the most common things you will see because people are prone to drama.
I don't know. I try to be a mature adult about it, which is kind of hard for me, but still I try. But there's always going to be those little comments that just kind of like digs at you. And I guess that's why a lot of guys on YouTube have kind of developed thick skin, because you
have to have thick skin.
You got to. Or those little comments just be like daggers. And it's usually my response in my head. It's not. I usually have this response in my head. I usually just ignore the comment. It's just like, oh god, you little shit. If I have a thought like that, I'm like, I'm not commenting. Sometimes like that, if I get mad, I just get off. I don't.
I think the best you can do is with those little comments is by blowing off steam, is by doing what most YouTubers do, is by making fun of it. I think that's really why they do it, because it's to really blow off steam from those stupid comments.
Yeah, that's probably the most healthy way to do it. I usually just ignore it and just move on. There are some people who can't. I've noticed that with some people on YouTube, is where they just do not have thick skin, and they just will go through into a whole tirade on others. The assholes who just block comments completely.
Yeah, these comments have been disabled. It's just like, oh.
This is like, really, you don't give a shit what anybody's opinion is. You're like, oh, you've been mean to me. Click. Well, no more comments for you. Eat that shithead. That's basically what he's saying. I think, and that's it's one of those things that rubbed me the wrong way about Mike McKay from Cinemassacre. Because he kind of got on that, where he would just disable the whole comment section. Yeah, I think it was over, I can't even remember what video it was. He was just being like this kind of dick in this video where he was just, I don't know, I see Mike Mateo a lot of times, and this is perception. This is just perception. I don't know him. I've never talked to him. But he comes off as a dick.
Man-child?
Yeah, a bit of a man-child. He kind of throws hissy fits on Twitter sometimes.
Don't a lot of celebrities?
Especially, well, you know who's really bad about it on Twitter? Just go on to Twitter for a second. You want to know who's the worst at it?
Who?
Pro wrestlers.
Well, duh.
Retired.
They're professional man children. That was their job.
But a lot of them are retired wrestlers who just can't let go of hate for certain people and all that. So, okay, there was this argument between Hulk Hogan and Scott Steiner. It just looked like two children bickering. If you look at the comments, it was just so depressing. This thing, for a lot of people, when they were a kid, Hulk Hogan was their hero. And to see him saying stupid shit on Twitter is just like, I looked up to this asshole.
That's why you never meet your idols.
Yeah,
You don't follow your idols.
there's a lot of people who have said that they're a lot of times they've talked to, like, they've met their idol and their idol was a dick to them.
That's why your idol has to be Morgan Freeman, because you'll never meet him, because he's the voice of God. You cannot meet God himself.
Then I remember that there was one story, and this is why I brought up the Irate Gamer earlier. He made a video, and I don't know if he's telling the truth. He could be lying for all I know. But there's really no reason for him to lie. It's the internet. Take everything with a grain of salt. But he talked about how he actually started to talk to James Rolfe and talk about if he's like okay with the videos and make sure there's no bad blood. Apparently, James Rolfe told him, "Yeah, you can do it as long as you admit that you were inspired by me." Really trying to, I don't know. A lot of people took it as he's trying to make James Rolfe look bad and all that, but just the way he was talking about it and the way James Rolfe does not mention the guy. There might be some truth to that.
Yeah. Well, usually, like I say, it's their business, not my business. Why am I sticking my nose in their business?
Yeah, this is just stuff I said. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I wonder if that's true. That's basically how I looked at it. I tried to
just learn to fucking man up and deal with it themselves.
It's hard to be a decent human being. It's a superpower.
I try to stay away from internet drama. That's why I steered clear away from the whole Spoonie thing that happened a few years ago. Yeah, a few years ago. It's not worth going into. I'm not going to go into it. I was trying to think of what else.
Well, I mean, the other big part of the internet, which is kind of the funny part of saying not going into drama, is the fandoms.
I don't look like I try to take people as individuals. I don't really try to throw them into categories or into fandoms. I never associate myself as being part of a fandom. Like, I've talked about this before. I like Star Trek. I'm not a Trekkie. I like, I'm trying to think of some other ones. What other fandoms are there that actually have a label? I like anime, but I would never call myself an otaku.
Wait, did it literally anime people call themselves otaku?
Plenty
I thought
of
that
people,
was more.
Plenty of people call themselves otaku. The first time I heard it was watching Mars Girl, which, she's okay. I've never really been a big fan of her videos. She's big time anime fan, and she associates herself as an otaku. I cannot pronounce this girl's stage name or internet name or whatever. I can't pronounce her name for shit. It's like Josu Otaku or something like that. It's literally in her name. Is otaku. It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't want to be part of a thing. Let me be me with my interests. I don't want to be part of a group.
You don't want to be sucked into that social group.
Yeah, it's just because it's really something just to put people in. It's just really to say, oh, you're this. It's like what you told me about. What was that word that you told me about how people from Japan?
Oh, Japan.
Yeah, I never even heard of that one until you showed me that really fucked up video. God, that was weird.
Hey, you better not have a problem with Pink Guy.
Who the fuck is Pink Guy?
You will never know. The filthiness.
Okay.
Just filthy Frank.
But yeah, it just otaku just seems like it's a, and like I've heard people talk about how you don't call yourself an otaku because it's a derogatory term, and
Yeah, that's what I always
it's an
thought.
insult.
I thought it was always supposed to be a sense of an insult, but yet I hear people call like, I'm an otaku, and I'm like,
It's just like really you. I've heard that it literally. I do not know. I do not speak Japanese. I do not understand Japanese. But as far as I understand, the word just literally means nerd. But it's just people just want to belong to something, I guess, and so they have to be part of this thing. I know this one guy I'm not going to say his name, but you might have seen him at Hobby Cards. He is a fan of My Little Pony, but he does not associate himself as a brony. He thinks it's actually an insult to call somebody a brony, because a lot of people, they hear that word and they think, oh, he wants to have sex with horses and shit. And I don't know where that came from. I guess
I think that's probably coming from the other fandoms that people like to put titles on that they
Yeah.
don't know about.
that's what I think it is people who don't know what bronies are. They don't, they like My Little Pony, so they have like a sexual attraction to these characters. I don't get why that always has to be a thing. It's like a furry thing. It's why does it have to be a sex thing?
I think because people just jump on it to make fun of it. I think that's a problem that people might do with Trekkies or any other fandom, that they go with the, oh my god, you're just a horny teenager. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why that's why men watch anime, apparently.
But I mean, like, I don't know, I think people go with that because it's the easiest way to make fun of it.
Yeah.
People seem to always go directly to the sex term to make fun
But
of
it's
it.
just kind of making fun of their insecurities as well.
Yeah.
Now you since you brought up fandoms, I'm just going to say this. Who would you say has some of the craziest people? Like some of the craziest shit you've seen from certain fandoms? With giant quotations.
I've heard, I haven't really seen, but I've heard stuff. I know I've heard weird stuff from Homestruck fans. But I mean, actually, I can't really just say them. This is actually all fandoms in general, where hotels were having problems with people damaging property, having little sex in the lobbies, not having enough money for their roommates, like stuff like that.
Wait, how's that related to fandoms?
Well, I'm just saying that it was grouped in with cons. When these conventions
okay.
So I was telling you this.
They are throwing people who go cosplayers and people who go to cons. They're throwing them into that category.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit. I mean.
But I mean, the saying is that.
Yeah, you told me about on a previous show. I guess I just forgot.
Is that apparently people have problems with common decency, and these are usually people that people depict in fandoms and think that all people are like that.
Yeah.
Is what's mainly shown in the media.
Well, people don't look at the good; they only look at the bad, if anything.
Yeah.
Anything and everything.
Like cosplayers kind of get a bad reputation.
I'm pretty sure they do, because a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, you're gonna go have sex," and that's it.
Well, no, I mean before that, people thought, "Oh, your cosplay." They think like the fat guy dressed as a Link. That's what a lot of people thought of. I know a guy who, and I told you about him. I know a guy who's a cosplayer. For some insane reason, he decided to go as Princess Peach, but whatever. He bought the costume for his I guess,
Girlfriend.
yeah, that worked. They've been engaged for 2 years, so. He got the dress for his girlfriend. She couldn't fit into it. He could. So that's what they did. She went as Mario.
I guess that's like your craziest stories, you know, the fandoms.
There, I can talk about the giant Ewok.
Giant Ewok.
It was this guy dressed up as an Ewok. He was just regular height. He was like 6 foot.
Oh.
It's just, I call him the giant Ewok because, dude, dress up as a Wookiee at that point. This is like, why Ewok? I think he just wanted to go with it. I think he just wanted to get attention that way.
I think it's, whatever, do whatever, be whatever, I don't see why people have to tell other people what to do. Or, their interests. I think that's
wasn't really saying, getting into that. I'm just saying that the people get painted with a broad brush, and they don't really understand that these people, they're just regular people. They're like, I mean, the guy I was talking about who went his Prince's speech, he's a dad. He has a job. He's about as normal a guy I know.
I think people really just do it just for it's fun. I think that's like the biggest thing, and a lot of people don't seem to catch that is the big word that it's fun.
He's gotten shit on YouTube about this because he bought the costume. A lot of those like hardcore cosplayers got on his ass because of that, and it's just because he said if I make a costume, it'll suck. It would look like shit.
That's how I would feel. I'd just be like, well,
It's just.
I mean, God, that's what I think is also a problem with fandom is why can't they appreciate people who like the same thing they like?
Yeah,
You're not as hardcore as I am, no.
we were talking about this, about how like
The true fan. Oh my
Yeah.
god. These douchebags.
Like, I never understand that. Shouldn't a fandom be glad that you have the same common interests as another person? Isn't that the whole point of it?
they get territorial. They just won't accept you as hardcore as they are. And I've still gotten shit from over this.
Ellie, I thought people would.
I'm still getting shit over this. People saying I'm not a true DBZ fan because I like Dragon Ball GT. I like Dragon Ball GT. Apparently that makes me not a real fan because Tori whatever, the creator, he says that's not canon, so you're not a real fan. It's like, I don't give a shit what the creator said. I count it.
It's whatever you enjoy. I mean, shouldn't you be like, oh yeah, I like Dragon Ball Z, and other guys be like, oh yeah, I like it too, but apparently you don't like it in the way I like it, so I hate you.
Because there's like I got a friend who's like this. He huge Dragon Ball Z fan, but he loves the Buu saga. He thought Super Saiyan 3 Goku was the most badass thing ever. He's talked on fan sites. He's talked about it on fan sites, and people just flash fry him because you like the Buu saga? Fuck you! It's just like he likes the same thing you do. Why do you have to get all defensive about it? Oh, what? Because he doesn't like because he's he's not all about the first season or whatever. And
I think it's because of insecurities. Of they're just like, I'm better than you because I know more than you, or I like something it's the dominant thing. I have to be better.
It's like how I can't be a true fan of Star Trek if I don't know everything about Star Trek. Or like I haven't seen every Star Trek show, so apparently I'm not a real fan.
Yeah, apparently,
I don't know. He was wearing fucking sneakers on this one set instead of actual shoes. Supposed to.
I'm thinking of that again. The nerdy guy from Family Guy, his son, who like he brings in a TV and is like he pauses the video to show a coffee cup in the background. Granted, that was a parody. That's a parody of Star Trek fans, but yeah, there are people who are really like that. They get obsessed with it.
Which is fine to be obsessed, but to be douchebag to
I
the
don't
person
know
who likes
about
the
the-
same thing.
I don't know about if it's okay to be obsessed over something like this.
That's like really.
Your interest is your interest, honestly.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, you gotta like get off this or something.
Well, with some people, when I say obsessed, I mean all the way obsessed. I mean to the point to where they eat, breathe, sleep it. That's
They live
all
it.
they talk about. That's
Anyway.
all. Like they just shut themselves in their room and just kind of immerse themselves into this hobby, like World of Warcraft or something like that. I just don't think that's healthy.
No, that isn't. They should at least have something else going on.
It's the unhealthy obsession.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's when you're just.
But I'm just gonna go to lazy man route and just be like, I don't care.
Get enough.
Whatever you do, you do.
No, I've been accused of being obsessed with certain things. My obsession with wrestling. But if you realize something, and a lot of people, see, here's the thing, and I've gotten it from the wrestling fans that I'm not a real wrestling fan because, I don't know who so-and-so is in the independents or anything like that, or I don't keep track of the indie shows and all that. It's all a matter of what degree of a fan you are. If you're the hardcore fan,
That's when
if you're
they're
the
just obsessed, insecure douchebags.
yeah, I mean,
that's what they're really making it sound like. And then you're like, oh, I'm hardcore, and it's just like,
like with
No,
kind of
you're-
glad to not be you.
like with me,
It's like find something
and
else.
it's funny, and might be something. This is unique to wrestling, where it's kind of like any other time, if and I've been made fun of this because I don't own any T-shirts with a wrestler on it. I've told people this. I don't buy a wrestling shirt with the wrestler on it.
Wait, you got made fun of for not?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought it's
Wrestling fans
supposed
are
to
weird
be
that
the
way.
other way around. I'm so confused.
The people were making fun of me because I won't wear like a shirt with like Batista on it. Because here's the thing, I don't want to have naked guy on my shirt.
That is kind of.
That is my reason, and a lot of people think I'm being stupid about it. No, that's what other people want to think. My mother bought me a beach towel with Batista, Triple H, and John Cena on it, all shirtless. Like, I am not taking that. I'm not using that. She winds up using it because John Cena's on it. So yeah, it's just like any other time. If you weren't a wrestling fan, some of this stuff would look really gay. If you were not a wrestling fan, like that's what my thing is. Like people who are not wrestling fans, they just see a half-naked guy on my shirt. Like I'm not going to buy a T-shirt with a wrestler on it. I'll buy one with their logo.
I'm a gamer. I'm not gonna wear a fucking hat that says gamer and a fucking jacket that says gamer on the back of it.
Yeah, or
I'm not that kind of insecure douchebag.
I've
Has
seen
to
people who
express
have
it.
to wear. I've seen people who wear like well, okay, to be fair, they're just supporting the game, I guess, because they actually gone to the game's website and bought it. I've seen guys who are really in Minecraft wearing like creeper T-shirts and stuff like that. Although I did find it funny, one person was wearing this green shirt that just said creeper. Like, if you did not know what a creeper was in Minecraft, that would be kind of a weird shirt.
I mean, a shirt, it is a shirt, and it's whatever you wear. And then, you know, as much as you express your love for something, I can express my hate to something.
I'd say that's
But I
not
mean-
really the point I was trying to get. My point is that
Is that it's weird if you don't.
if from the outside, you can it could be misinterpreted. Like the creeper thing, because a creeper is, well, you know, somebody who calls like a girl's phone for, like, yeah. You think creeper, you think stalker. So it's kind of like this. This is last wrestling reference I'm going to make. There's a wrestler, Daniel Bryan. His whole thing is yes, yes, yes. Like he'll throw his hands in there and chant yes. For a little while, he was doing this thing where he would do no. Like the fans chant yes, he would yell no at them because he was a bad guy and all that. But he had a T-shirt that said yes, yes, yes on the front, and on the back it said no, 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 stop it. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes on the front, no, no, no,
So
stop it on the back.
I can understand where if you didn't know what that was, you'd just be like,
It's just cheesy inside jokes.
It's basically the rape shirt. That's what
Yeah.
people have been calling it.
yeah.
And this is completely that was just WWE's fault. That's WWE marketing's fault. But it's just sometimes you gotta draw a line on your fandom, just because it's like don't, like I always say this, you like what you like, just don't make a jackass out of yourself.
I think that's apparently really hard to do because a lot of people seem to fail at that.
Like I can understand, like, and I'm using this as an example because I've seen this before, like at Walmart.
Ooh.
Yeah, you see some scary things at Walmart.
Why don't go?
What if? And I'm just using this. I don't mean to pick on these people because I've talked to a lot of them. They're really cool guys. Well, a lot of them I've talked to.
It's just the sad example that shows.
Yeah. So I hate to keep jumping on bronies, but look, you can like My Little Pony and all that, and absolutely love it, love the characters and all that, but kind of keep that at home.
Yeah.
Don't wear like a Rainbow Dash shirt at Walmart, because I've seen people wearing that. If anybody's curious, that's the only one I can remember the name of.
I think
but-
when people wear a shirt and they go out, it's kind of whatever.
it's just the guy was not just happy with the shirt. He had a jacket that said "Friendship is Magic." He had a little pony necklace, and I think his shoes had like My Little Pony stickers on them. It's like, dude, you're like 35.
It's the flashing.
Do they pay you to do this? Are you a fucking walking advertisement?
I should have asked him that, but I didn't. I just saw him walking in the aisle. And it's just like, really, dude?
I mean, to stuff like that, I wouldn't really care. It's more like when they bring it to their job or, you know.
Yeah.
Where they ask you to be professional.
Yeah.
And then you come in looking like a douche.
Now there's some cases where, and I've came across this again at Walmart, where I would see this guy who was wearing something like My Little Pony related, and I guess there's some kind of pony, commune somewhere in this town. But this was another guy. But the thing is, he got into it because his daughter was into it. So it was one of those things, and I've seen that happen with like Adventure Time, which is another fandom that's kind of gotten out of control with the way people leaving the house and bringing their fandom along with them. It's just sometimes you gotta know when to turn it off. So just try to be normal.
I mean, like when you express it outside, I wouldn't say I have much of a problem with it. I think the only problem I really have with it is because I can't get away from it from the internet, and I can't get away from it real life. And I can't get away from this period.
It's not that I'm saying that you just need to like completely be a closet case with your fandom. I'm just saying that some people just need to show some restraint and need to kind of like me. Like I've said before, I love wrestling. I've talked about wrestling, but
You don't go around everywhere like...
talking about it. Yeah. It's usually one of those things where once I get to know somebody, then I start to talk about like my interests and all that. Most of the time, people laugh in my face, but whatever. But you know, I've just seen people who are just full on, full force fan when all 24/7.
And they try to ram that shit down your throat, trying to make you accept their fandom.
Yeah, and if you don't agree, sorry, go ahead.
You were practically going on the same tangent. I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, if you don't agree with it, basically it's like, oh, you're I'm being suppressed. That's basically what they're saying. If you don't agree with it, automatically they're being repressed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just like, by the way, I find it.
Fuck.
What?
Are they believing that it's like African American repression?
That's
like
what
that?
I was about to say.
Yeah.
You're repressing me because of who I am.
Or if you're like a friend of theirs and then they like try to push this down your throat and you're like, I don't really like it. You're like, well, you're not one of my true friends or stupid shit like that. It's like, I be a friend. I'm here to help you out, but don't try to force your shitty hobbies on me.
That's what I've been telling. That's what I've been telling one of my friends who's been really trying to get me to play. Really trying to get me to play Diablo. It's not one of my kind of games. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Diablo is a tower defense game, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
No. What is it?
A dungeon crawler.
Dungeon crawling RPG.
Oh, okay. Still, I wouldn't be all that interested in it, which is funny because I played Skyrim. But I don't know what.
It's more of a point and click.
Skyrim is kind of done differently, so it's more like the action RPG, and those are more what I can get into. When it's just dungeon crawling and all that, and just grinding for experience, stuff like I hate those kind of games.
That's all it is. It's literally, I believe, like 12 different maps, and all you do is just grind them on different difficulties.
And maybe that's why certain RPGs I've never touched, like the Chrono Trigger and stuff like that, because I kind of have this preconception. I have no idea what kind of RPG Chrono Trigger is.
It's a JRPG.
It's just like...
Oh, dear God.
It's like Final Fantasy and all that.
Oh, dear God. The one genre that I am terrified of. JRPGs. Leonard has tried to get me into those, and it's just like, no. something about the characters and the stories and stuff like that kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's always like cheesy shit that would have been laughed out of a bad anime. It's just, oh god. It's almost laughable as J-pop.
Hey, I like my JRPGs. Don't make fun of me. You're repressing me. You don't understand me. You don't get my feelings.
Okay, but the give me a second. I'm trying to think where to go from here. It's just with fandoms sometimes can get out of control. You like what you like, and it, you know, you can express it the way you want to. Just kind of put. You need a cap. You need to put a cap on it sometimes.
Well, there's a
Tone it
line.
down.
There's a line for everything. Is how I always see
Yeah.
it.
But by the way, let's kind of leave the quote unquote nerdy fandoms alone for a second. Look at football fans. Football fans can get crazy. If you've seen any like Super Bowl game or something like that, and you see some of the people in the crowd, it is a pack of some of the weirdest people you would ever find. And I've heard some of these people make fun of like cosplayers. It's where, okay, you make fun of cosplayers, but you're the one painting yourself with body paint, trying to make yourself half blue.
I think it's the ignorant level of like, oh, I'm different from you because my thing is real.
That sounded like something I would have gotten for somebody trashing wrestling and praising UFC.
Just because people have insecurities about their thing, and I'm sorry of sitting there having to use that thing so much, but it's really true when people go and bash about stuff like that.
Well, let's kind of move on from this then. What would you say is like the next biggest thing about the internet outside of what we've talked about?
Right now, the only thing I would know is Reddit.
Ah,
I think that is probably the biggest.
see, I've never
the
used
biggest or
it.
the second biggest. I think the biggest is YouTube because you say
At this
YouTube,
point,
everyone knows what YouTube is. You say Reddit, some people might know.
I didn't know
Reddit
what it
is.
was. Like I knew it was a thing. I've never been on it.
It's practically just the news of either the communities or just the internet overall. It's just news.
It's just a place for a community to get together.
It's just information, just like YouTube.
Now I gotta say this, since we've kind of been complaining the entire thing. What would you say is the benefits of the internet?
Communication.
Communication.
Because there wouldn't be very many communities if
I
there
mean,
wasn't
some
such
people,
thing as the internet.
for some people, you know, it's a way to find people who are into
the same thing they are,
yeah.
which is communication.
Like if you live in like a small town and you're
I
kind of
know.
like the
Isolated,
yeah.
I think it,
and you're the
yeah.
only person who likes anime in your entire town, and you just feel oppressed because no one else
Not really
likes it.
impressed, but you feel kind of
Alone.
alone.
Uh-huh.
You feel like, oh, I'm isolated.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way a little bit until I started going in the heart of the cards, and I don't mean I'm not trying to say heart of the cards is like the central of nerds. It's just that, like in high school, I didn't know anybody who was into anime. I didn't. People like I had some people in high school where I would say, "Oh, I play video games," and I would get usually laughed at because I'm a nerd or something like that. And it's just like, "Oh, isn't that for like 12-year-olds?" And it's just like I play Grand Theft Auto and shit. And funny thing is usually those guys who would make fun of me then go home and play Call of Duty.
Yeah. But I mean, I really have to say communication because I read on Reddit on people meeting with other, the community and stuff, and they say they're really happy. And sometimes, when you see people who get together and you actually see the facial expressions of what the people are having, they're truly fucking happy. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things of what the internet can do is bring people together. As much as it can also tear people
As
apart.
cheesy as it sounds, it's true though.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I think that's like the best thing, and it's just kind of heartwarming to really see how good this can be, and also how bad it can be.
Yeah.
I'll be back later.
Okay. Could have just text me to say that.
But that's just really what the internet can do. It can bring people together and it can bring them apart.
Yeah.
Well, that's the people themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really, it's like you said, it's just a way for a lot of people to just kind of be connected. YouTube, as much of a, I don't know how to describe it, a clusterfuck.
We'll just say clusterfuck to the TV.
It's just it's just this amalgamation. Can be this amalgamation of shit, of just the dumbest crap you could think of that gets popular. But it's also a way where you can share opinions, share like if you share talents, like if you like. A lot of videos I watch are people who are just doing the speed paintings or the speed drawing, and I'm not talking about like they did it on a program or something. No, it's like a time lapse of them actually drawing.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen them. They're really good.
It shows people's artistic merit and stuff like that. And it's like, literally, I've complained about YouTube. I've complained about I've complained about the deterioration of personality on Twitter, and that might have been the wrong word. But just personalities on YouTube. I've complained about the lack of personality, because a lot of times it's just like, oh, I'm going to do what this guy does, and you just have like 1,000 people saying that exact same thing.
Tropes, like I said. They're what people do all the time.
I mean, people can be very impressionable, and when you see a lot of people be assholes, I think that really leaves a huge impression of people to admit that, oh, it's okay to be an asshole.
Yeah, but what I want to say is, like, there's also this, it's also, like we've said many times, it's a tool that can be used or abused, and you can use it. I know plenty of people who, like, it's like, oh, I didn't know how to make this, like, they learned how to prepare some kind of meal. I don't know. It's like, oh, I didn't know how to make this cake, but I went on YouTube and I found out how. And it's like, it's just an easy way. Like some people can't read something and learn it. They have to see it.
It's just information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You either go to the cesspool shit of the information side, or you just want to try to learn through it. That is the internet.
Yeah. One other thing I'm just thinking of right now, when it comes to the internet, one of the things that pops in my head.
Porn.
Besides porn.
Internet is for porn.
Anyway,
Internet is for porn. Grab your dick and double click
for porn. Yeah.
But what I was talking about is that, and this might actually go hand in hand. Shush. Might go hand in hand is
Or
fan
choice
fiction.
of words, or
Yes, but fan fiction. That's another thing from the internet I've noticed is that that might be one of the earliest things was basically people are huge fans of something and they feel like, well, it would have been cool if this happened. Hey, I'm gonna go right in and share it. Now, there's been some horrifying things that came out of this, but there's some legit good fan fiction out there that I've read and actually thought was really damn good.
I think it's the experience of the writer, the age of the writer, and what the writer is
Yeah,
writing
I've seen
about.
some horrendous fan fiction, but which, by the way, it's funny when I see things that are done by so-called professionals that come out like fan fiction. Have you ever read any Batman comics that was written by Kevin Smith?
No, no.
It really feels like fan fiction. If you ever played Beyond Two Souls,
I've heard about it, but no, I.
that is basically one giant long Alan Page fanfic. That is all it is. So it's a bunch of situations that some hack writer wrote. And I know I'm talking about David Cage here, but still, some hack writer. That's right. I'm calling for all the people who say, "Oh, what a great writer." No, he's a shit writer. He's like on a Stephen King level. Except Stephen King is more competent than this. I'm going to get hate mail for that one, but it's just, it did feel like fan fiction, which is hilarious because sometimes I think fan fiction can be better than the actual thing that they are a fan of.
Well, I mean, I think it's the Quentin Tarantino syndrome where the fan knows what the fans want.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're getting into this era of the fans are now creating.
Yeah. Because, well, really, that's not really a new concept. Because, like, look at comic book writers, look at comic book artists. A lot of them grew up being fans of other. Like, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of people who read comic books who were inspired by Jack Kirby. I'm pretty sure there was tons of people inspired. And usually, they're a fan who gets into it. I know of several cases where somebody was a fan of wrestling and eventually they became a wrestler. So it's not really a new concept, but you can look at some certain things and think sometimes the fans get it right. Sometimes the fans do it better than the professionals. We've talked about fan films before, didn't we?
Well, we didn't talk to them in depth. We talked about it.
Well, we might eventually do an episode on that. I looked at a few movies fan films, I should say, that I looked into were actually better than
The source material.
than the professional, not really the source material, but the professionals. And I know this is low hanging fruit, but if you ever watched the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie, I have not, so I still don't have any basis of opinion, just based on what Aaron said. But I would say check out the movie, this fan film for it's for his name's escaping me. Goongala, hockey mask, the hockey stick, baseball bat. Casey Jones, that's it.
Still running a blank.
You don't remember Casey Jones,
No.
and you did watch the 2000s Ninja Turtles, right?
I've watched some.
Who doesn't remember?
I don't remember shit.
What about you?
No, I didn't watch it.
Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, this was a fan film. Somebody who was a big fan of Casey Jones, they were a big fan of the movies and the cartoons and stuff like that. It really does have a vibe of the 1990 movie. If you remember, if you remember that movie, he was basically that thug who was taking out the Purple Dragons. He even got in a little fight with Raphael. Long hair and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's Casey Jones.
Okay.
I mean, he's one of those characters that's got so popular to where he has his own comic book. He has this huge fan base. Check out the mini movie. I don't know exactly what the name of the film is. I think it's just called Casey Jones. It's really well made for a fan film, unless you're picky about costume effects. But
And when you know something has a budget, that's where I'm just kind of like, I can accept it.
yeah, I'll just say his made Ninja Turtles 3 made the costumes in Ninja Turtles 3 look lifelike. If you ever saw that movie, then you know what I mean. And sometimes fans get it right. Going back to fan fiction for a minute, there's one I'm currently reading. It's not it's done in the form of a fan comic or manga, I guess. I'm still reading this fan comic called Dragon Ball Multiverse, or it might be Dragon Ball Z Multiverse or something like that. Basically, the whole concept is they get fighters from multiple universes, different parallel universes, and throw them all into one giant tournament. So you get like different takes on characters, like different. Basically, they have a lot of fun with it, and they come up with all these different kind of universes. Like what if Vegeta turned Super Saiyan and killed Frieza and took over the universe? That's one scenario that they have played out, where the Saiyans kind of took the universe back, or they took control. There's one where Babidi destroyed the entire universe, so all you have is Babidi, Deborah, and Boo, where they, that's one team. Then you have, the the regular universe where it's all the characters at the end of GT. Yeah, it's all the characters from the end of GT. You have some universes where it's basically what if these bad guys won, and it's just interesting to think of all the stuff they came up with just to do this. They have these one-off comics done in multiple styles, which are really interesting. It's just a lot of love went into this. These are some mega fans who really know their really
The source or
do what
know the source or
know the source. They really understand it, and they do some things people really wanted to see. There's some original characters they made up. Oh, okay. We'll wrap it up. There are some original characters they came up with. Some people like them, some people hate them. I like most of the new characters they made up. And there is a nice little jab at a lot of fan fiction where there's always the Mary Sue character. They literally satirize that in this. And I thought that was hilarious.
What does that term mean again?
Sarah Sue?
Yeah.
It's when the writer kind of inserts herself into the story.
Ooh.
And usually, I don't know, usually they are the, greatest something or another, or all the characters are in love with them, or, basically it's a giant ego trip. It's basically to inflate their own ego and live out, and for this character to kind of live out their fantasies. I think it actually came from a Star Trek fan fiction. I think that's where the term came from.
Okay.
But yeah, Mary Sue. Did I say Sarah Sue earlier?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, well, anyway, Mary Sue.
It was like Sari Sue.
Sarah Sue or something like that, okay. But so, yeah, my point is sometimes the fans really get it. And sometimes fandoms can get out of control, but then there's the people who are like, they're actual normal human beings.
I think a lot of people are normal human beings. It's just that we focus on the more dramatic and more interesting.
Yeah, I guess that's why people still talk about Tommy Wiseau, because he's just a weird man.
Yep.
Alright, we pretty much exhausted this, unless you guys can add anything.
We pretty much hit past our usual time, so I don't think we can really add anything to this. I think this
Okay.
is to the point of it's enough.
Okay, well, just saying, this will be the last episode for November. I'm going to Colorado, and I won't be back until next Sunday. So, and by the time I get back, I'm not going to be in the mood to do another show. So, odds are this is the last one for this week. Unless I don't know. I was thinking of an idea of using Skype, but see if that actually will work. But it's just an idea. I don't think we're actually going to do it. So that's pretty much it. Well, for this episode, I'm Philip.
Don?
And Rob.
See you next week.